Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana Everything, and welcome back to the channel and a match review as we look at how FC Barcelona suffered yet another grueling 120 minutes of football in Cornella, but for once we actually won after extra time, or in extra time actually. In what was a very physical and exhausting encounter even for the Cornella players who encountered a beast from Uruguay at the heart of Barca's defense. More on that later. Blaugrana managed to avoid falling prey to the demands of playing against lower league opposition, something we have of course seen happen to both teams from the capital. So in this video I'll quickly look at how the teams lined up, then we'll talk about Barcelona's performance on the night and we'll discuss negatives and positives from the game, as well as pick the man of the match. Now, a quick reminder to hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video so you can stay up to date with all the coverage of all things Barcelona on this channel. Let's go ahead and look at how the two teams set up. Cornella set up with the obligatory 4-4-2 formation with a low block, as we have seen so many times this season. It seems to remain an unsolvable puzzle to the genius mind of Ronald Koeman. The following players were in Cornella's starting 11. In goals, they had the fantastic Juan Ramon, and in defense, Guzman, Estes, Moreno, and Gerard, with Marcet, Dorca, Presa, and Marin in midfield, and Ontiveros and Delgado up front. Barcelona set up in a 4-3-3 with Neto, Longley, Araujo, Firpo, and Mingueza, Pjanic, Push, Moriba, and Trincao, Braithwaite, and Griezmann leading the line. Let's now briefly look at how Barcelona performed in this game. And just before I get into this, like a slight disclaimer, I have not been this bored watching Barcelona play since Valverde was in charge. So I'll be very curt with my summary of the match performance because there really wasn't much to write home about in this one, guys. As mentioned, Cornella set up with a low block 4-4-2. Barca meanwhile had a 4-3-3 devoid of any meaningful width. As a result, nothing happened for the opening 38 minutes, nothing of note at least. Then from a set piece, Ronald Araujo won a penalty which Miralem Pjanic missed thanks to a great save from Cornella goalkeeper Ramon, and also I believe just a very terrible run up. Like, I don't know why he was standing like 2 meters from the ball and telegraphing which foot he was going to use already. You're basically telling the keeper, just try and dive as hard as you can to your right. Let's see if you save this. And that's exactly what happened. Anyway, the second half was then soon underway, and like the first half, nothing happened for the first 35 minutes. And in following the trend of just, like repeating what happened in the first half, a defender won a penalty. This time it was Longley, which was again missed, this time by Ousmane Dembele, who stepped up to take his penalty, but he missed badly, giving Ramon an easy save in the middle of the goal. Barca then created 2 huge chances in the last 10 minutes, but both Martin Braithwaite and Ronald Araujo were unable to beat Ramon inside the 6-yard box, and this awful game went into extra time. And I've got to say, this extra time business, it's pretty gruesome on us fans as well. Not just the players, because our sleeping habits have just been obliterated at this point. I have not slept normally since that Sociedad game. Thankfully, Barcelona finally took the lead 2 minutes into extra time thanks to a powerful strike from distance by Ousmane Dembele, and Blaugrana then just ran out the clock, just keeping the ball from Cornella, trying to hit Cornella on the break as they waited out the final whistle. And there was still some time late on for Pedri and Dembele to combine, creating some magic down the right, which I thought was honestly just brilliant play by Dembele to find Pedri and set him off. And just when you thought, Pedri is going to score and give Dembele an assist, Pedri decides, nah, I want the assist. And he squared the ball to Braithwaite, who tapped in to make it 2-0. I should mention that between the 2 goals, there were further chances for Conrad and Dembele to have scored, but Conrad was denied by another wonderful save by Juan Ramon, and as for Dembele, he just couldn't find that finishing touch. And so 2-0 is how the game ended, and that is how Barcelona avoided an upset in the cup of upsets and booked their place in the round of 16. Let's now briefly get into my negatives and positives. I will start off with the negatives. My first negative is tactics. Now, in my match preview, I said that Coman has to get his tactics right, and unfortunately, that is not what happened here. Specifically, Coman's mistake was with the tactical setup and not so much team selection, because I don't necessarily feel like everyone who started there shouldn't have started, but I think that the setup was just wrong, you know. Although I have to say that it was criminal as well to see Longley out there for so long, and also just for Collado to have had a grand total of 0 minutes. Like, I do not know how in a game against Cornella, a team which he scored against, scored a winning goal against, and you play 120 minutes against that team, and the one guy who has actually scored against that team gets 0 minutes against that team. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know what goes on in Coman land, you know, up in his head. He is a bit too tactical and naive for a manager who has been coaching as long as he has. If even Cornella can predict how you're going to set up and effectively neutralize your tactics, bruh, something's gotta give, something's not right. My second negative has to be our good old friend wasted chances. Sure, Juan Ramon had a blinder of a match, but we missed 2 penalties, guys, as well as at least 2 clear-cut chances. You know, the chances I mentioned earlier, which fell to Braithwaite and to Araujo. We should have scored. No excuse for this game going into extra time. That was down to our poor finishing. I will now move on to positives, of which there are 2 as well. My first being Ronald Araujo. I saw somewhere on my Twitter feed someone saying, like, you know, Araujo would be considered one of the best defenders right now if he was playing for Atletico de Madrid, and I couldn't agree more. The kid is just an absolute beast in the air and on the ground. Others have likened him to Virgil van Dijk. I don't really see that so much. You know, for me, I get where they're coming from, but for me, he reminds me more of his fellow countrymen, Jose Jimenez and Diego Godin. Like, you know, he's somewhere in between the 2 of those guys. My second positive from this match is Conrad de la Fuente. I have personally been pining for this kid to get more minutes, because he is legit the only other player at Barcelona right now who offers us some of the similar sort of stuff that we get from Ousmane Dembele. His pace, direct running, he can use either feet. It was a joy to watch, and he just showed why I think he deserves more minutes ahead of the likes of Trincao or Braithwaite in those wide rows. Like, really, if we're looking for somebody to put out wide when we're not trying to play Griezmann and Dembele, I think this kid should be the first name on that list. Forget Trincao for now. Let him finish adapting. In fact, anyway, no, you can't just put him in the B team. But I would say put Trincao in the B team for the rest of the season, because the B team has a better coach than the main team. And yeah, I think Trincao would be a beast under Pimienta. Anyway, moving on, we can now pick the man of the match, and I think there can be no doubts as to who that was. Serious honorable mentions go to Juan Ramon, who single-handedly took this game into extra time, but I feel like ultimately his heroics between the sticks were overshadowed by the mammoth performance of Ronald Araujo. It was the type of a match that was well set up for Araujo to shine, since the opponents played directly into his strengths, which so happened to be duels. He won 9 out of 9 on his ground duels, and he only lost 2 of his 11 aerial duels. You know, absolutely wonderful performance on the night, and totally worthy of the Blaugrana everything man of the match. So now we'll wait to see Barca's opponent for the round of 16, hoping that we don't get to experience another 120 minutes of the sort of dour display we just had to sit through. But yeah, at the end of the day, we have to say a dub is a dub. Other teams in Madrid were knocked out by plumbers, right? Well, that does it for my match review. Ladies and gentlemen, what were your thoughts on the match? Feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and Forza Barca.